Theology course. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School, and I can almost guarantee you that you will not get this content anyplace else, especially the way I'm giving it to you. Definitely not the devil's pulpit. All right? Definitely. So welcome to the class. This is we are 46 videos in, y'all. The Devil's Pulpit is our primary course textbook. The author is Robert Taylor, the Reverend Robert Taylor. Y'all see it? Okay, so the link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video, along with books I've written on Ancient Ibaryath, and you can see very well how the author so masterfully uses etymology, philology, astronomy, astrology, and history. And we would include in all of that the arts, paintings, architecture, statues, cathedrals, etc., etc., etc. Mythology, how he uses it so masterfully to bring to your sight the meaning of the Gospels. All right? They have double meanings. And of course, the Gospel is nothing more than a fairy tale. Let me speak according to the author. The Gospel is a fairy tale. Okay? This cute little baby walking in. Look like she probably 2-3 years old, still walking a little bit on her tippy toes. just barely keeping her balance. So anyway, y'all, so according to the author, the Gospels is a fairy tale, allegorical story. It is a play, a tragedy. Okay, a remix of the original Coptic Egyptian document, which was written as allegorical stories to hide and protect the ancient knowledge of the cosmos that the ancient Egyptians inherited from those nations that came before them. Okay, which is where they got it from. So it had to be hidden and protected. It had to be written in code to protect it from the Catholic Church, the renegade Moors, the Romans, the Moors. Okay, so that's an antigram. And of course, it was edited, translated into Latin, and then after Latin, it was translated into Greek. A lie has been told that the Gospels have originally were written in Greek. In recent times, there's a lie being told that the Gospels were originally written in Hebrew. Okay? And so here we are. So now let's begin where we picked up. Of course, after the Greek, then it was written into other languages. All right? The Romance languages. So we're on page 111, and I'm excited about this because I love this topic. Now, when I was in religion, the 144,000 in the book of Revelation was a big deal. It was a big deal, and it was a big part of the doctrine of the religion that I was involved in. Of course, the 144,000 elders, according to the religion I was in, these are Christ's brothers. And they get to live and reign as kings and priests with Christ in heaven. And everybody else live on earth, right? You're a part of the great crowd. You live on earth. All right? And that set of people, the 144,000, are said to be Christ's brothers. All right, Christ's brothers. Okay? Now, we are on page 111 in the chapter. Let me go back to the chapter. I wish y'all would study this and study it well. This is the chapter called the Temple. The name of this chapter is the Temple. It gets its name from Jeremiah. The verse in Jeremiah, chapter 6, verse 4. All right, now we're going to finish this chapter up. This should be a very short presentation. So the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord, the temple of the Lord are these. Turns out to be that astronomically the temple of the Lord is Gad. Gad is not only the first tribe of Judah, Gad is also the first sign of the Zodiac. So each tribe represents a Zodiac sign. So the first Zodiac sign is Gad, G-A-D. It can be pronounced with any vowel, A-E-I-O-U. Okay, so you can throw whichever one you want. Gad, G-A-D, God, G-O-D, that should ring a bell. Gid, G-I-D, Gud, G-U-D, Ged, G-E-D. The vowels are interchangeable, okay, y'all? And it was pronounced in that way during certain dispensations of time. Yeah, all of those pronunciations were there with different peoples and nations and different dispositions of time. All right? Okay. So that's with the temple. Now, as we move further through the topic, you will learn that London is a deity. London is a deity. Of course, it's the S-U-N sun. There's another big city in what's now called Britain, which was Albion, that's also a deity. It's hidden. The spelling has been changed over time using certain patterns. But once you understand the code, and you get the code through understanding and having a knowledge of etymology and philology, astronomy and astrology and history, okay? And you can use it to examine great structures, megalithic structures, including cathedrals, the ancient cathedrals. And when you're able to do that, you see a story unfolds. So I post it yesterday? I don't know if I started posting it. I don't know if I finished it. But the pediment and the tymponium at the church of Polox, which is now called the church or St. Paul's Church. Okay? So let's move forward. There's so many mosquitoes. I almost hate coming to this place, but I don't have a better option right now when I come here. All right. So anyway, we talked about the Templars. The Templars, as in Knights Templars, law. The constellation Gemini, Castor, and Pollux. Y'all remember? So let me skip because I don't want to spend a lot of time. Y'all go back and watch all of this. And then we get into Paul. So who is Paul? Paul is not who you think Paul is. In fact, Paul is many people. Paul is represented to be Saul, as in King Saul, the star or deity Polak's pole. Y'all hear me? And later we find out in the chapter that Paul is Jesus. So make your correlations between what Paul did in terms of the authority that he wielded and the arguments that you hear about Paul, whether Paul started his own religion. Well, Jesus is the S-U-N Son. Well, Paul is also the S-U-N Son, as this chapter, as the author brings out in this chapter. Now, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, don't just reject it. Read the chapter yourself and or watch the videos that I did. The last 2, 3, 4 videos that I've done, so you can make an intelligent, informed decision and not just say, no, that ain't true, just because it doesn't agree with what you have been told. All right? In fact, if all there is to know is what you've been told, you'd never learn anything else. In fact, if you follow that reasoning all the way down to when you were, let's say, an infant, you'd never learn anything because you didn't know anything. So if things only exist that you know about, well, how do you explain you knowing what you know? Right? You should know nothing. There should be nothing else in existence if that line of logic is right. Okay? So just because you've never heard of it before doesn't mean that it doesn't exist and that it's not true. All right? Anyway, let's get into it. I don't want to go any further into a review. All right, page 111. We were dealing with the Saltire cross. So let me show it. This is the ganometer. It's nothing but an X, a letter X. Y'all see that? Y'all see the letter X here? Let me let the camera focus right there. Y'all see it? Now let me turn it this way. Turn it around. Y'all see the letter X there? All right, that's the Saltire cross. Now the angle between the lines are approximately 23.5 degrees, or 23.46 degrees today, or sometime around today, maybe a little bit less. And you'll see why that is now. So what's the significance of that? Now this is the celestial equator. So in the autumn equinox, my fist is the sun. The sun is falling, and then the sun falls below the celestial equator, meaning that the sun is crucified. So the angle at which the sun, let me show y'all. The angle at which the sun crosses the equator, this angle right here, 23.5. This angle right here, 23.5. Do y'all see the Saltire's cross? Y'all see the Saltire cross? Y'all see it? That's the Saltire cross. Now there are two, because in the spring, the sun is going to do what? It's going to rise up and pass over the celestial equator. And now again, you have the Saltire's cross, 23.5 approximately. The angle between the ecliptic, the path of the sun, and the celestial equator forms this saltire cross. Y'all got it? Now, that's measured, that angle is measured by a ganometer. So imagine that this is the North Star. I believe, on June 6th, in the Julius Caesar, on the Julius Caesar calendar rather, this is the North Star. Well, let's say this is Pollux, because Pollux pole is at the zenith. So here's the sun at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So imagine this going all the way down this line to the earth. And then you measure the angle of the sun at 12 noon. Measure the angle of the sun at 12 noon, and guess what? You'll get, because why? The sun is at its highest point in the sky at 12 noon. Okay? Actually, I just thought about something. I'll share it with y'all later. This angle, when you measure it, this angle is 23.46, approximately 23.5. Okay? A ganometer is used to measure it. Okay? But that's the orientation. Okay? But actually, if this is, hold on, y'all. Wait, hold on. Let me let this noise go by. I share my thoughts with you. Okay, so I don't know what the summer solstice is on the Julius Caesar calendar, but on the regular calendar, the calendar we use today, the summer solstice is June 21, okay? But that's not the calendar we're dealing with. But let me say this, if on the Julius Caesar calendar, if the summer solstice is June 16th, the sun should be at a 90-degree angle to the earth. So it will be Pollux here, and then lower, we'd have the sun at its highest point in the northern sky, so they would be aligned. Y'all got it? So it could not be on the summer solstice. If my thinking is correct, it would have to be a different day, or what? A different location. It would have to be outside. It would have to be either further north or further south. Further north than 23.5 north, which is the Tropic of Cancer, and further south than 23.5 south, which is the Tropic of Capricorn. Y'all hear me? If June 16th on the Julius Caesar calendar is the summer solstice, right? Because what happens? Am I thinking correctly, y'all? Hold on. No, I'm not thinking correct. Scratch that. That's not correctly. That would be when the sun is at the equinoxes. So I'm correct. So scratch that. That's not correct. All right? So the sun is at its zenith, the highest point in the sky. Okay, June 16th, summer solstice. So the angle would be, as I said, this is the north, this is the pole, Pollux. This is, draw a line from Pollux all the way down in the north, all the way down to the earth. Oops. And you have, I done dropped my straw. I'm messing up. Hold on, y'all. All right. So let's do it again. Pollux in the north. That's our orientation. Drop a line all the way down to earth. Okay? Here's the sun at 12 noon. The sun's going to be somewhere around here. Okay? So draw a line from the sun and the angle. The angle here should be what? 23.5, 23.46. Y'all see it at 12 noon. Why 12 noon? Because the sun is at its highest point in the sky at 12 noon. That's the sun at its zenith. Y'all see that? With polaks at the meridian. So you just drop a line, like a plumb line. And this measurement was done by a ganometer. But you see it's a saltire cross. Y'all see it? It's a saltire cross. But the interesting thing about the saltire cross, when you look at the Confederate flag, y'all, look at the Confederate flag. It's a saltire cross. Y'all remember the Dukes of Hazzard? Right? I believe the lines are blue lines this way, and blue line that way, and then here it's red, 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 red. So it looks like what? It looks like pyramids, right? 1 pyramid, 2 pyramid, 3 pyramid, 4 pyramids. If y'all can imagine this being a flag. Y'all see it? That's the saltire cross. So it's astrological. The Confederate flag belongs to the Moors, and it is astrological. Why is that important? Why is it important? Well, for religion, it is of utmost importance because it's related to the 144,000 doctrine in the book of Revelation. Now, y'all know that the book of Revelation talks about, or it culminates in God's kingdom reigning on the earth, and where peace, justice, and righteousness would prevail. Now, doesn't that sound familiar, y'all? Where do we get peace, justice, and righteousness? You get them at the vernal and autumn equinoxes, where there's 12 hours of day, 12 hours of light. Or 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. Y'all follow this? Everybody on the planet gets an equal number of daylight hours and nighttime hours. Now that's fair, that's fairness, and that's equity, right? That's justice. Okay? Doesn't matter who you're sleeping with. Doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. Doesn't matter how many wives and concubines you have. Nothing matters. As long as you're alive, you get 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. Period. Justice. Okay, y'all? So it's at the equinoctial points. 23.5 degrees above the celestial equator, that's the Tropic of Cancer. 23.5 degrees below the celestial equator, that's the Tropic of Capricorn. Okay? So, at the equator, 0 degrees, the sun will be literally at a 90 degree angle. So this is a 90 degree angle. Forms a square. All right? So if you were to look up, the sun would be directly over your head. That happens twice during a year today. But at 23.5 north and south, it happens only once a year. Okay? It happens only once a year. So that's why, let's say if you're in Canada, or let's say if you're in Morocco, North America, Morocco, you'll always see the sun off at an angle. You'll never look up and see the sun directly above your head. Why? Because you're above 23.5 north. So the sun will be at an angle at all times during the year. And you'll get the 4 seasons. Y'all got it? and 23.5 degrees below, the sun will also never be directly over your head, which would be a 90-degree angle. It's always going to be at, you look up in the sky, the sun is at an angle, okay? And that's why. That's why. All right, but let's get back to this topic. We're going to deal with the 144,000 now, y'all. All right, so here we are. But I'm going to start at the first paragraph. But pass through the edifice from the north. So what edifice? We are now at the esteemed and famed St. Paul's Cathedral, which is actually the great god Polak's cathedral. But pass through the edifice from the north, go out at the southern entrance, the edifice is the building, and on the pediment over that entrance, you shall see the self-same Hercules, under the Greek name of Andrew. Y'all got that? That's the Apostle Andrew. Andrew is not a Hebrew name. No matter how much your religious leader tries to convince you that it is. All right? So Hercules, Andrew is Hercules, y'all. The Apostle Andrew is Hercules, under the Greek name Andrew, which never could have been the name of a Jew. A Jew is a religion. It is not a bloodline, house of Yasharallah, man or woman, okay? He, she, it, whatever, is not a Moor sprung from the soil, sprung from the land, right? Okay? So the Greek name Andrew, which could never have been the name of a Jew, signifying the strong man holding a saltire cross. Now we have Andrew holding a saltire cross, that is, a cross in the shape of an X, a ganometer, or double pair of compasses. Don't that sound, what does that bring to mind? Compass. All you need is what? A square. What organization comes to mind? That organization that's the what? The inner house. Okay? Exhibiting the precise angle which the SUN sun made at its two crossings of the equator, which I demonstrated just a second ago. At the time when this beautiful form of SUN sun worship was first instituted. Y'all got that? Sun worship. Now, of course, that's dealing with religion, because our ancestors did not worship the sun. We studied the celestial bodies. And just like Jeremiah says in verse 8, chapter 8, verse 8 of Jeremiah, it says that the scribes made the book of the law into a lie, and they created religion. So natural phenomena was remixed into religion, and the author is speaking to that now. Y'all got it? All right. In other words, these institutions of higher learning, the purpose for them was changed from observation and study of the celestial body and nature and consciousness to religion. Okay? That angle being now 23 degrees and 28 minutes. Now in our 506 The Curses course that I do every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we check that out. That is 23.46, maybe 5, I don't remember, 23.46, 23.47, something like that, degrees. When we just said it, rounded off 23.5 degrees. Okay? So here's the celestial equator. This is the vernal equinox. This is the sun passing over the celestial equator. And this angle is approximately 23.5 degrees. There's your Saltier's cross, Saltier cross, or Andrew's cross, St. Andrew's cross. You get the same thing as I mentioned earlier when the sun is falling and then the sun gets crucified when it crosses below the celestial equator, and this angle is approximately 23.5. All right, so there's your double Saltier cross, St. Andrew's cross. Y'all see it? That angle being now 23 degrees and 28 minutes. Compared to what it was, that means that the angle changed. This book, this sermon was given in 1830, almost 200 years ago. This book, those sermons were put in book form somewhere around 1854, 57. I don't remember exactly. But these sermons were given almost 200 years ago. And the angle of the equator and the ecliptic 200 years ago was approximately 23.467, 465. Y'all see the Saltier cross? That was 200 years ago. And it changes. How do I know it changes? Well, because he's saying compared to what it was when observed by Ptolemy. So in our class last week, Ptolemy lived, according to the story, sometime around between AD 60, I think it was AD 60. I don't remember. He lived in between the 1st and the 2nd century. All right? Somewhere around then. So let's say roughly 1,800 years ago. Or let's keep it simple. He lived 2,000 years ago for all practical purposes, right? So, compared to what it was observed by Ptolemy. So the angle changed. Compared to what it was when observed by Ptolemy, is shown to be gradually decreasing. So that angle is decreasing at a rate of 1 minute in 100 years. 1 minute in 100 years. 1 minute in 100 years, y'all. 23. The angle is again 23 degrees and 28 minutes. So 28 minutes. So 1 degree equals 60 minutes. I should have took a picture of this and posted it. Because we found a website where you can do these conversions. But anyway, let's continue. The important thing to know is that the angle of the ecliptic is decreasing at a rate of 1 minute every 100 years. All right? 1 minute every 100 years. So 100 years have passed since this book was written. Almost 200 years have passed since this sermon was given, rather. So 1 degree per 100 years, 1 plus 1 is 2 degrees. So that angle should have decreased by 2 degrees. If in fact, 1 minute is 1 degree. So we will be looking at what? Roughly 21. That angle should be 21. Approximately 21 point, or 20, let me repeat that, 21 degrees and 28 minutes approximately, based upon my assumptions, right? Let's continue. So that in 100, listen y'all, I'm on page 111. So that in 140,000 years, excuse me, so that in 140,000 years, it will be shut up entirely. That means the angle will go down to 0 in 140,000 years. The ecliptic will coincide with the equator. In other words, the angle of the ecliptic will be 0. And excuse me. And there will consequently be an equal length of day and night over all the earth and all the year round, constituting the reign of righteousness, or a physical millennium, which our Christian blunderers have so absurdly anticipated in a moral sense. So y'all see that the physical phenomena has always been remixed into a moral sense. So let me backtrack. So if it takes 140,000 years to go to 0, then if I'm understanding this correctly, 1 degree is not 60 minutes. I'm going to go back and check all of this stuff out, y'all. And I'll find the equation, Ptolemy's equation, and how this angle is measured. I'll find it. And when I find it, I'll share it with y'all. Because he says here, so that in 100, and let me go back. He says here, it is shown, or the angle is shown to be gradually decreasing at the rate of 1 minute in 800 years. I see the mistake I made. So 28 minutes. 28 minutes is 0.5. Let's see if I can work this out. If 28 minutes is 0.46 degrees, well, let's just round it off, 0.5. And then, so if you double that, that would be, 60 minutes, right? Roughly 60 minutes, 28, double it. Okay. So that's 1 hour, 60 minutes. So 1 degree would be what, y'all? Would be an extra minute. Okay? So in 60 years, is that correct? Hold on. Excuse me. 28 minutes, yeah. Gradually decreasing at a rate of 1 minute. 1 minute and 100. Okay. So 28 minutes. That would be 2,800 years, right? Do I got that right? Gradually decreasing at a rate of 1 minute in 100 years. Yeah, okay, so 100 years, so it's 28 minutes. So that would be 2,800 years. So that would have to go all the way to 23 degrees. Y'all follow me? 1 degree, 60 minutes. But anyway, I'll find his calculation. But anyway, that's what it's saying, right? 28 to go to 0 has to be 28 years. So that would be what, 2,800 years. And then there's 23 degrees. Okay? That also have to go to 0. But I'll find it and share it with y'all. But the point is this. That angle is decreasing. And every 100 years that go by, we get closer. We get 1 degree closer to what? To having 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night on planet Earth. And how long is that going to last? For 1,000 years. That's the millennial reign. 1,000 years of every day, day in and day out, 12 hours of sunlight, 12 hours of night, for 1,000 years. Not just for 1 day as it is now. All right? So now let's continue. Oh, the other point is this, to keep in mind. This is another example of natural phenomena being remixed, and sold to you, presented to you as a moral story or an issue of morality, ethics. Y'all should watch the video I did on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Y'all go watch that video. I go into that. This notion of morality and ethics. It's not what you think it is. All right? It's not what you think it is. Go watch the video. So we are cracking their code. The fact that you know that physical phenomena is repackaged and presented to you morally should answer or give you a key to understand and answer a lot of questions. Anyway, let's continue. And St. Andrew, you will observe, stands with this great gonometer, or measure of the sun sun's angle upon the equator behind his back. Insignificant indication that what is to be seen, listen y'all, what is to be seen is a crucified man. But what is to be understood is in the background. What is to be seen by those who are on the outside of the house, by the common people. What is to be seen is a man being crucified, Jesus being crucified. That's what you're supposed to see. The moral, the morality, the religious doctrine. Right? What's the moral? The moral of the story. You need to follow all of these religious doctrines. Why? Because Christ gave his life for you. So that you can live. So that Christ can be your Savior. Right, y'all? Well, that's what you're supposed to know. But the people who are on the inside of the house, as Christ said, as Jesus himself said out of his own mouth. When his apostles asked him, why do you speak to the people in parables, in riddles? You're saying things that they don't understand. Why are you talking to them like that? Why don't you speak plainly and clearly to the people? What did Jesus say? He said, I speak to them in parables or in riddles so that they would never understand. So that they have ears to hear, eyes to see, so that you can hear it and see it, but you won't understand what you're looking at. You won't understand what you're hearing. That's called being under a spell, y'all. That's called being under a spell. You're seeing something that's not there. You're hearing something that's not there. Illusions and delusions. Why? Why did he want the people to be in this messed up mental state or state of mind? Well, Christ himself told you. He said, because if they ever understood, they would have a chance to repent. Well, Christ just told you. He wants you to be out of your mind. He wants you to see things that are not there. He wants you to hear things that are not there. How is that achieved, y'all? That's achieved through what? Connotative linguistics. How else is it achieved? It's achieved through media. Y'all see it? Now, if you cannot repent, obviously you cannot be saved. So if you cannot be saved, that means what? You're a dead man walking. Y'all heard me? You are a dead man walking. In religion, they say you are spiritually dead. In law, we say you are spiritually dead. You're Civiliter Mortuus. Everybody see it? Now, if you're civilly dead, you are a what? A debtor. You have no constitutional protections. You have no treaty protections. You're a ward of the state. Leland Adams writes, yes. All right, Leland Adams, thank you. Good to hear from you. Everybody see that? You're a ward of the state. You're a Goyim. Genesis chapter 1, you're Goyim. And what's the mechanism of that? Well, everybody learned about the good ship Jesus that shipped us off into slavery. But only it's not a physical slavery. Okay, it's the curses. So you're going to worship gods of wood and stone. Christianity and Islam. That's the mechanism of what? Of your violating natural law. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, the whole thing. You're worshiping these external deities. Actually, you're worshiping the stars, but you don't know it. Don't bring another power, don't bring another God before my face. All right? So that puts you firmly and squarely in the curses. For what? For violating natural law. And you get all of the punishments. What are the punishments? You get escheated out of your estate. You get a turn. You get hit with bills of attainder. You get hit with chronic diseases, abortions, spontaneous and you know, from other causes, extreme poverty, terrorized, being in a state of terrorism, constantly afraid for your life, and civilly dead state. Everybody see that? These are the curses. This is what the good ship Jesus has brought you. Now I'm going to post a picture that I found on the internet. It comes from the JW organization. It's Jesus Christ with a Moor in the palm of his hand. Jesus Christ with a Moor in the palm of his hand. He's standing, his feet are on the ground, but his body goes up into the heavens and the clouds are around him. And around his head, there's a halo. All right, so he came back in the clouds. He has his hand extended. There's a Moor in the palm of his hand. So Jesus has the Moors in the palm of his hand. Now, if someone has you in the palm of their hand, what does it mean? That means that you're an idiot. They're in control of your mind. You do whatever they tell you to do. They manipulate you. You're under their power, their authority. They got your mind. You're in the palm of their hand. On the ground. Now, isn't it interesting that the JC in that image, y'all will see it. He's standing up above the clouds. Ain't that a giant, y'all? Isn't that a giant? Who are the giants? The Nephilim, the Raphaim. I'm just saying. So here we have, and that's coming from, clearly that organization is Masonic. Now, here we have John, the Apostle John, reaching up to JC. Now remember, JC is reaching down to John, and he's got a Moor, the face of a Moor, a masculine Moor in his hand. And he's reaching down to John. And the Apostle John is reaching up to him, but he has a letter in his hand. He has a letter in his hand. And the letter is not the scripture, because the scriptures are what? In scrolls. They're round. The scriptures are in a scroll. But he has a letter, and he's putting it up toward Jesus, the Christ figure. So he's clearly giving that letter to Jesus. So what is that letter? Again, it's not scripture. If it was scripture, it would be a scroll, right? It would be a scroll. But it's a letter. Is it a bill of exchange? Is John giving him that letter as a promise to pay? For the what? For the authority, to have authority, to have jurisdiction over the Moors. Now remember, Jesus has the Moors in the palm of their hand. Jesus has mental control over the Moors. And John is giving him a slip. Is it fiat? Saying here's payment. Go take this letter. Go take this note to the bank. Right? As payment. For the Moors. Now correlate this with Genesis chapter 1, y'all. Correlate it with Genesis chapter 1. The hybrids were told to have everything on the planet, everything that moves on the earth, in subjection to them and have rulership, have dominion over them, have superiority over them. That would include Genesis chapter 2, man and the feminine man with a womb. Y'all hear me? So what is that letter? What does this image represent? What did that secret society they called Jehovah's Witnesses, what's the meaning of that image that they put out? You cannot deny, when y'all see it, the book is called Revelation, its grand climax. I think it was published in the 1980s or 90s. Y'all can Google search it and find it, but I'm going to put it up as a post. All right? What's the point? Jesus has you mentally enslaved. Jesus got you in the palm of his hand. Christianity has you in the palm of their hand, meaning to say they control your mind. Religion, Jesus controls your mind. And you do things that are against your best interest. The same way if a woman had you in the palm of her hand, or if a man had you in the palm of his hand. Y'all know what that means when somebody say they got you in the palm of their hand. And again, the secret society member, Saint John, the Apostle Paul, is reaching up with a letter. Okay? Now we know that Christianity is a corporate system. We know that maritime admiralty, Catholic Christian policy is a corporation. And what do they deal with? They deal with fiat. They deal with fiat, which is paper notes. Paper notes. Anyway, it's something to think about. I'm not saying I'm right. I might not be right. I'm sharing my thoughts. Because I don't want you to follow me. I want you to think. I want you to think and free yourself. I want you to return to the Most High. Through your own mind. Not my mind. Through your own mind. That's why famous men, let me not say famous. Men who made a tremendous impact in freeing our people, such as Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if y'all get mad, y'all don't like that I call him Prophet Noble Drew Ali, well, you say President Trump, don't you? You don't disrespect a former president. You don't disrespect the Pope. Well, the Pope is not his name, that's a title. So you Hebrew Israelites and you blacks and you Christians, don't trip. All right? Don't even trip. Don't disrespect someone just because they look like you and you feel like you ain't Escheat. Or your daddy ain't, or your mama ain't. Okay, yeah. I said it. It's not about what you think or what I think about him. That's who he is. All right? But such great men who had these powerful impacts on us, such as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we would not know anything about nationality had it not been for him. So everybody else that came behind him, although they distorted, many distorted for selfish purposes, the information that he delivered, and they pointed us in a different direction. For example, my mother's husband, he followed Elijah Muhammad. But Elijah Muhammad shifted the focus off of nationality and put it on being black and morally clean. Morally. So we see the remix, right? The focus was on morality. The focus was not on nature and nationality. Because in nature you are what? You are a rightful heir of everything. And you have constitution. Why did he say that he wants us to return back to the constitutional fold and participate in the affairs of men, of nations? Because we have constitutional and treaty protections. Everybody see what's happening here? But Elijah Muhammad shifted from natural phenomena and nature over into issues of morality and ethics. As does all the religious leaders. Malcolm X, until he started to wake up, was focused on morality. MLK, All of them. It's all morality and ethics, right? Except for the greatest of those men, which was Prophet Noble Drew Ali. All right? I don't remember where I was going with this, but anyway, it don't matter anyway. Let's keep going. I remember. Let me go back. Page 111. Listen, y'all. Andrew, you will observe, stands with this great gonometer, or measure of the sun's angle upon the equator behind his back. So there's an image, okay, of St. Andrew, but behind his back he has that gonometer, that saltire cross. Insignificant indication. Significant indication to secret society members. Okay? Those of you who are not secret society members or privy to the information or at a level or degree, I don't know how it works, where you get this information, you don't know anything. It looks just like a religious image to you. Okay? Insignificant indication that what is to be seen is a crucified man. But what is to be understood is in the background. The background is a saltire cross. Okay, y'all? The angle of the ecliptic that the 144,000 elders, is 144,000 elders. These are nothing more than minutes or degrees until the angle of the ecliptic, let me put it like this. Until the angle of the ecliptic goes to 0. And then there's 12 hours a day, 12 hours of night, for 1,000 years. Now what's the mechanism of the angle moving? What caused it to move in the first place? See, what event caused the angle of the ecliptic to move? And by the way, if it's decreasing, what caused it to move to whatever angle it was at to start with? What caused it? And did that result? Or is that what initiated a cataclysmic event on Earth? Some people would say, oh, the global flood, or the global, what is it, the global mud flood or mudslide or something like that. The breaking up of the continents, the death of the Titans, the Nephilim and the Raphaim. Is that the mechanism? The destruction of the promised land? Right, y'all? Because when you read Deuteronomy 28, when we got kicked out, the promised land would be destroyed. It would become like Sodom and Gomorrah, a burning waste. So what's the mechanism of that event? So in other words, it would be an uninhabitable desert, the same way as Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, when you look at that, clearly, the gospel events could not have happened, because the gospel events are said to have happened in the promised land. Watch the video I did with Shanetta if y'all want to learn more about that. As a matter of fact, it's on my homepage on the YouTube channel here. All Abrahamic religions are a hoax. So now let's continue. Only the stupid people, according to this author, the idiots, believe that Christ was crucified as a historical story. See, that's what's to be seen. See, eyes to hear, I'm sorry, ears to hear, eyes to see, but they don't get the sense of it, they don't understand. Listen to what the author just told you. What is to be seen is a man crucified. So now you see a man crucified, but you don't understand that that's not what is to be understood. What is to be understood, again, is the natural phenomenon. The angle of the ecliptic moving to 0. That's to be understood, the natural phenomenon. What is to be seen is the religion, Christ dying on the cross. This is what is to be seen by the eyes that don't have any understanding. Christ dying on the cross. That's what's to be seen. But what is to be understood is the angle of the ecliptic. And Christ's reign, Christ's millennial reign, will occur as the ecliptic goes to 0. And now here we are at the equinoctial points, 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. Paradise earth, y'all. Paradise earth in which righteousness shall dwell. Y'all see it? This is what is to be understood. So now you have eyes to see, and your eyes, signals given to your brain is able to process it and understand it as being the millennial reign is physical. Okay? And that man on the cross is symbolic of the angle of the ecliptic. And God's kingdom, that millennial reign, again, this is the last time I'm going to say it, is when the ecliptic moves to 0. Now, I hope you are able to understand. So here we learn something that the Jesus Christ of the Bible didn't want you to know. He did not want you to know. Because if you know, you can repent and be saved. What does that mean? So you repent by getting out of religion. Stop worshiping these false gods. And you return to the Most High and follow His instructions, which are natural law, the essence of which is do no harm. Which means what? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You return to nature. And in returning to nature, you declare or make it publicly known who you are, your nationality, your bloodline. Honor your ancient foremothers and forefathers so that it may go well with you. You live a long time, you get into blessings, right? The extreme wealth, the nobility, everything in Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, so that it may go well with you, so that you'll receive the blessings in the land the Most High is giving you. That's the trust agreement and the estate. And the estate. See, it is unalienable. But when you are not in your nationality, in your proper status, you are an alien, a foreigner, a stateless person. You're in the curses. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. Verse 68, the good ship Jesus. You're in religion. Or in the science of religion. All right? So let's keep it going. But it is not in one. Hold on, let me let this go by. Let me let this noise go by. One moment, y'all. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep it moving. Y'all like and share the video, please, okay? Now, the author continues. We're on page 111. But it is not in one. It is not in one. It is not within the compass of very many discourses. The author is saying, I can't tell you all of this stuff in one lesson, in one sermon. It's too much to give you in one sermon. We'd be here for the next, how much, next year, next 2 years. But it is not in one. It is not within the compass of very many discourses that I can hope to compress the merit of this great cumulative argument. What he said in a very wordy way is that it's going to take a lot of lessons, a lot of discourses, a lot of presentations, a lot of YouTube videos. You're going to have to sit, listen, and learn for a long time to understand how astronomy, astrology was remixed into religion. In other words, Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8, our ancestors, the scribes, wrote lies into the law and made it into a book of religion. It's going to take more than a few lessons, a few lectures, a few discourses, a few sermons. It's going to take a long time to see exactly how they did that and for you to learn. And as you learn, it's going to break you free from the fear of the devil. It's going to break you free from the fear of displeasing your pastor, your minister, your elder, your general. See, all of that is a what? A brainwashing. You got to come out of it. It takes time. And you need to learn. You need to learn the astronomy, astrology of it. And I'm not talking about hocus pocus astrology. You need to learn nature. And you need to see for yourself how etymology was used to make it so that you got eyes to see, but you cannot understand. So that you got ears to hear, but you cannot understand. They did that through etymology, through linguistics, connotative linguistics. All right? So this is why it's so important not to violate the laws, the natural laws of language. See, y'all know in North America, when the policy enforcers kidnap you, what do they say? Anything you say can and will be used against you. Because they've taught you connotative linguistics. And when you go into their venue, you're going to be what? Testifying that you're under their jurisdiction, that they have authority over you, without you even knowing it. All right? All right. So anyway, let's continue. I see we got what appears to be a troll in the chat. Let's continue, y'all. So y'all hang in there. It's going to take time and effort on your part. But I make the commitment to you right now. I'll continue to provide this information for you. But that's all I can do. It's up to you to use it, to learn it and use it. Okay? It's up to you to do that. All right. Now let's continue. This irrefutable and unanswerable demonstration. So he's talking about the astronomy, astrology, the etymology, dealing with these radicals, roots, bases, etc. The philology, the architecture, the cathedrals, the artifacts, the history. He's saying that this stuff is irrefutable. and the religious community, they don't want to deal with it. Which, y'all, is probably why they have not dealt with it. See, we don't see the type of information I'm putting forward or these kinds of books on the topic. We don't see religious people talking about the devil's pulpit or such books, do we? No. Most of y'all have never heard of it. I know I had never heard of it until I found it, which was later in life. Okay, y'all? All right, so let's deal with it. So this is what he's talking about. This irrefutable, meaning that when you use the etymology, the philology, astronomy, astrology, the history, it cannot be argued that Christianity, even Islam, have their origin in astronomy, astrology. Okay, it's a remix. That's all it is, a remix of natural phenomena. Period. In other words, it's star worship, sun worship. Let's continue. All right. So this irrefutable and unanswerable demonstration of the utterly fabulous character of everything that has ever been born in the name of religion among men. All of it comes from astrology, astronomy. All of it comes from nature. And sure, there can be no better way of exposing falsehood than by setting it side by side with the truth. And that's exactly what the author has done here. He gives you the religious doctrine, and he shows you the origin of that religious doctrine, which is, again, this should be repetitive by now, which is the etymology or the radicals, right? It's the roots and the bases. The philology, any type of art, architecture, idols, everything else, right? The history. Everybody see it? Gives you all of that. And then it gives you the solution. Gives you the astronomical, astrological meaning. And the remix becomes obvious. Everybody see it? Now let's continue. And sure, there can be no better way of exposing falsehood by setting the doctrine next to the astrological phenomena. There's no better way of exposing falsehood than by setting it side by side with the truth and bidding you and telling you, scholar, make your own decision. Here's the information. Use your intelligent mind. Okay? And bidding you with the eyes of your own reason to look on this picture and on this. This method I have pursued in innumerable illustrations. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. I've gone through them. They're word illustrations, but what we need, we actually need visual images, right? So if y'all want to make some donations, and I can use that finance to hire an artist here to create these images so I can show them. I can show them during the presentations. I can put them up as community posts, etc. And it would be a lot easier for you to understand. In other words, you can get to the place where you not only see it, but understand it faster, a lot faster than having to try to imagine it without the visual image, okay? So this method I have pursued in innumerable illustrations, which my regular hearers remember with full conviction. Okay, so in other words, the more you come listen to his sermon, the more you watch my video presentations, the more you'll be able to see these images in your head and to understand. The scales will fall off of your eyes, and the wax will come out of your ears, and you'll be able to understand. You'll be able to see and hear what the Spirit is saying to the congregation. All right? This and 1,000 illustrations yet to come. In other words, he's saying he got more better. He got more better. Keep coming, keep watching. He didn't give you all of the information yet. Keep coming. I shall continue to pursue. All right? So he's saying he's got a whole lot more examples of doctrines and their origin in natural phenomena, their origin in astrology. All right, y'all? So y'all keep coming to these video presentations. If you're reading the book on your own, keep reading it, because there's a lot more to come. A lot more to come. Islam to all the Moors. Thanks, everyone, for buying my books, for subscribing to my classes. Y'all are welcome to come on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 506 The Curses course. The link is in the description area of the video. 506 The Curses course. You can come for free. It's not a free class, but you can come, see if you like it, come a couple times or even several times. If you want to enroll, you can enroll. If not, you don't have to. You don't owe me anything, okay? Islam to all the Moors, and Shalom. Like and share the video, y'all. Oh, by the way, y'all help me get 39 more subscribers. So YouTube sent me a notification that once I get to 1,000 subscribers, they're going to remove the restrictions. Okay, they're going to remove the restrictions so more people can actually be notified about the work, about these videos. I just need 39. But if it goes the way it's been going, that's going to take forever unless I have y'all support. You know, just ask somebody to subscribe. Make a new account and subscribe. All right, do whatever you got to do. Because remember, the goal is to get to that 99th or that 100th monkey phenomenon or level. Okay? Which is when that 100th or 99th monkey phenomena or number of people, mass of people is hit. Once that number is hit, then the behavior is adopted by the entire population, which would be by the entire empire of Moors. Okay, we will all abandon religion. We'll all return to the Most High. We'll all be following the Most High's commandments. Okay, so this is, y'all Google search it if y'all don't know what it is, either the 99th or 100th monkey phenomena. That's the goal. That's the goal. We don't need everybody to do this. According to modern science, we just need enough mass of people to hit that 100th or 99th monkey phenomena. And then the behavior will adopt. What does that represent? That represents the end of poverty. The end of all of the suffering. Okay, y'all? Etc. In other words, we will be back in the blessings. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Islam to all the Moors and Shalom.